Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we have kind of the overdue third part of my three-part series on the recent changes we got in the 1.5.0 beta patch, and this one's going to be solely on multiplayer changes. So recently we received the new 1.5.0 beta and 1.4.3 moved to live. The update was about 4.6 gigabytes and it was a big one. So it was a very highly anticipated patch and includes a lot of single player and multiplayer changes. And like I stated, this will be the third video and will focus solely on multiplayer changes. So I wanted to wait on this video because I wanted to try out the multiplayer and also the new maps before I made the video to kind of give some insight of my own. But if you wish to see the short 10-minute overlook video of the whole patch, the link to that video will be down below. Also, the video that looks over solely single player changes will be linked down below as well. But oh yeah, and before we do start, the link to the new beta patch will be down below as well if you need it. And like always, I have a script. It's going to be on the screen right now. Everything I say, everything that is stated will be down below in the description. So let's get into the changes. And like I said before, multiplayer only. So first we're going to do the big changes. Then we'll talk about all the unit, weapon, and armor adjustments because there is an insane amount of them. We're going to kind of skim through it, look at the good ones, and look at the ones that really change the gameplay and all of that. So first, we got two new Skirmisher maps. First one, I can't pronounce these, so it is what it is. It's Echerion, I think that's how you say it. Probably saying it wrong. Echerion, which is based in an imperial city with canals and a seaside. And the second map is Port at Omor, which is based in a trading and fishing village. So both maps, in my opinions, are good. Just overall a good map, and they do exactly what they're supposed to do. Right? There are choke points, enough space for cavalry to run around, do their thing. Archers have good places to duck in, reload, and not archers reloading. Let's say crossbowmen reloading, or archers, obviously pulling the arrows back and then popping out at the corner. And they also have narrow passages for infantry where they can catch cavalry out, and also they have like these little shacks in areas where you can kind of hide and then pop out and then go behind the enemies, and then obviously gank them and stuff like that. So overall, the maps were built pretty well in my opinion. Also, before we continue, there are a lot of small bug fixes and crash fixes. If they are significant, then I will mention them, but if you want to read all of them, then the link to the patch notes will be down below, like I stated before. Next, we got a big change for the siege game mode. You will now receive gold for doing the objectives, not just getting kills. So attackers will get gold for pushing siege weapons, breaking doors, and breaking enemy siege weapons. Defenders will get gold for breaking the enemy siege weapons as well. So players will be compensated when the total task is complete. Next, we have our clans, and clans can now be created, and 6 players are needed in one party to create a clan. A clan has a tag, faction, and I think it's called sigil to represent the clan. Also, a clan has a description and announcements that the leader can edit and post. Clan names have to be unique, so if you have a name in mind, I would suggest you hurry up and claim it. Clan names will be transferred over from the beta to the next patch, but stats and other things like that we're going to talk about below, they will not be transferred over. They will be pretty much, you'll be a clean slate once this beta moves to live. So clan matches can now be played with a six-party team versus other clans, and the results will be represented on the clan stats as a win or a loss. Clan members can find teammates quicker now by inviting within the clan they are in, and the clan leaders can kick any player that they wish or that they see unfit to be in the clan, right? So clan ranking leaderboards are added, and they're based on wins and losses, and a rating system for players individually will come in the future. And next we have a spear bracing, which is a new feature that can be done with lances and pikes by pressing the X key while completely stopped, and you can't really move. You can move a little bit, but it's like a slow walk. So this is supposed to counter cavalry, and it's supposed to be very effective. Unfortunately, it's rarely used and it's very situational. It's a cool feature and concept, but not really viable, and leaves the player very vulnerable to everything while he or she is waiting to counter the said cavalry. Now those are all the big changes in terms of stuff that's not, let's say, combat changes that we're going to talk about now. So now I'm going to pull it up on the screen, and we're going to read pretty much through all the combat changes, see which ones are good, bad, and I'll give my opinions, right? Alrighty, so now let's go over the combat changes. So we're going to go through every section, and I'm just going to give a quick, pretty much a quick summary of the main important parts of each section, and we're going to go from there. So first we have melee combat, and the stuff that you need to know that was changed was defense speed was increased drastically. That means that you can defend a lot quicker with a shield or any other weapon, and pretty much your release speed of a weapon has been decreased. So now it's a lot easier to defend versus attacks. Another big one is the crush through formula. So crush through with high force weapons is very powerful right now, especially with two-handed maces. Crush through pretty much means that they can attack you through a block and still do damage. Another thing that was, that was changed was a lot of collision changes were made. So collision starts slightly later now, so that does affect attacks. But also swings will now deal more damage more consistently, and also they decrease the damage threshold for pierce, cut, and blunt attacks, which are all very, very significant. And another thing, they also made attacker stuns. So pretty much when you're attacking and you get stunned as you're attacking, they made those stuns shorter, and they made stuns that defenders receive from the attackers longer. Now moving on to ranged combat. So pretty much what happened is they decreased accuracy of throwing weapons and bows in general. They made bows more inaccurate when moving. They made them more inaccurate right away, so you can't just quickly fire the bow. You really need to pull it back and then shoot. Also, the accuracy of throwing weapons when held for a long time will it's going to go down, same way that bows do. So if you're holding it for too long, your accuracy will start to decrease again. So also, as you can see on the screen right now, it does say multiplayer only. So all of these changes, because I forgot to mention this in the previous melee combat section, all these changes are applied to single player and multiplayer unless stated otherwise. Like over here, they stated multiplayer only. The reason this is listed under the multiplayer section is because you notice these changes a lot more when you're playing as one character fighting against another character, unlike in single player where you're having battles with hundreds of characters. So there's a huge difference, and you don't really notice, let's say, the draw of the bow, or let's say some of the collision of the weapons above, or some of the swing damage, because guess what? A lot of units are fighting all at the same time. It's a lot more chaotic, and there's a lot less that you can really control. But unless stated otherwise, these changes that I do say, they are for both multiplayer and single player. And in this case, all these changes that I stated are for multiplayer and single player. And the only ones that are different is multiplayer got an extra nerf for bows, which makes them inaccurate. Makes them inaccurate earlier when drawn out for a long time, and also makes bows more inaccurate when moving. Next we have is other combat changes, and all this really did is they nerfed the kick and made kicking animations longer, so it gives your opponent more time to react if you do decide to kick. Also, collision resistance was improved, so it's harder to push people now, pretty much with your kick or with a shield bash or whatever like that. And also equip animations were made longer, so picking stuff up takes a lot longer now. Now movement changes. So they decreased movement speed during combat. So when you are in combat, when you're in a duel, you are going to move slower, and to break away from combat, it's going to take more time now. And then pretty much when you want to start sprinting to a location, they increase the maximum sprint speed, but it takes longer to get to that maximum sprint speed. And they also made it easier to turn with horses. Now, mounted combat and movement. So in my opinion, cavalry were nerfed a lot, and this is one of the big nerfs right here. So horse rearing is pretty much where they put their two front feet up and pretty much like kick the player off. But in this game, you don't really get kicked off, right? There's only certain times that you do get kicked off. But let's say you run into a wall too soon, or you run into an enemy's weapon, your horse will pretty much rear up more often. Also, for multiplayer only, classes with lower riding skill, their horses are going to perform worse, less maneuverability and less speed. Now, some other changes include increased fall damage overall, and for skirmisher mode, they changed the max gold to 380, which I think are both very good changes. Now to weapon changes. So there were several axes and pikes where some were increased in damage, some were decreased in damage. It's on the screen right now if you want to read which ones. Also, all weapons were adjusted in relation to the new combat parameters. So pretty much this helps the developers monitor their performance better. And also, in terms of javelins and throwing weapons like that, it looks like around the board the damage was reduced for all of them. Now for troop changes, we have all skirmishers and shock troops are slightly faster now. All heavy infantry start with a lighter, weaker tall shield. All horses hit points are increased by 20 across the board. All heavy cavalry and barding perk armor are reduced by 5, and all shock troops start with a small and very weak shield. So this is only planned for skirmisher for now, but they're going to make adjustments when some issues are fixed. Now, lastly, we have the changes to specific units within each culture, and they're very, how can I say this, miscellaneous changes, right? There's a lot of them. Sometimes the price is changed, sometimes how the shield work is changed, the price is changed of the unit, and stuff of that nature. So if me going over each one of these, it would take very, very long, and I feel like certain people like to play certain units, and they only want to hear about that unit. So I'm going to put it all on the screen right now. All the cultures, all the unit changes. You can pause it, you can find your culture that you like to play the most, and then also the unit you like to play the most, and see the changes that are, that come with that unit. And you can pause it right now, check it all out and all of that. But that pretty much does it for the video. Lastly, I'm going to end this video in the same way in most of my update and dev talk videos. Pretty much I want to thank the developers for staying active and bringing some very, very good changes in multiplayer and single player. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my 3-part series. It took some time to make, but I enjoy making these, and I'm going to do this for very big patches that do include a lot of changes like this, and hopefully this does bring you some good informative content. Also, I have a video on how to revert your game to any other patch released, so if you are having problems on the current patch, check out the video below. Also, I did start a Patreon, and it's nothing crazy. I'm just using it for basic support. There's no paywalling. My content will always be free, but it does take some time for me to make. So if you do want to support me and what I do further, check it out. The link will be down below. Like I said before, it's not mandatory. And like I said before, hopefully this video was informative. Ask me any questions, concerns, and like always, stay safe.